Today on Media Layer Sandwich, we talk about promoting movies. Like, how is it done? Like, now you've done this because you're a social media marketer, right?
No, I'm an engineer.
Welcome to Media Layer Sandwich. I'm Toden from Toden.com and MediaLiteraSandwich.com, where, well, media creators talk about media creators. With me is an author and more of a tech side of things.
I would say, yeah, kind of both. A little bit of content creation, a little bit of tech, and a whole lot of stress most of the time.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Steve Sadler. As he said, I'm an author, technologist, engineer. Been in the industry for about 30 years. Started the internet when it first started, and I'm still pushing hard on it and see whether we can make some cool things. So,
what's really cool, so I'm looking at your LinkedIn. You got so many different companies that you belong to, or you play a key figure in. What do all these companies have in common?
If you were to look at the IP behind them, the actual software, it's all basically based on a patent that I had back from around 2005 called frequency marketing. And actually that spawned into actually building social media applications, pre-Twitter, pre-Facebook, and actually applications that work directly with them too. So the common thread is really, all around, e-learning, which I've actually always said that really is social media and was the beginning of social media. So that's kind of the common thread between all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types of social media. We did have Terry Bean on here a few weeks ago talking about Ignitecast. I assume that was more your baby.
I've worked with Terry 2 or 3 different times over the years. Terry is one of those Maven type guys. He's very great connector. Obviously, he runs a Motor City Connector. Yeah,
right.
So he's been doing that for a lot of years. But he just has that ability to be able to see, what 2 groups are doing and say, yeah, I see what the interconnection point is between those 2 people, and he makes it happen. But it is definitely different this time. He's definitely way more involved than I thought than even he thought he was going to get into where we're going with this GoFreak technology. But it's exciting. I mean, it's really a compilation of everything that we've been working on over the last 30 years.
Okay. For those that don't know, what is Ignitecast?
Ignitecast is the ability to create what we call ignitables, which is really, if you look at it, it's social media. The reason they're called ignitables is because we kind of invented it before social media was even a term. But really what it is an ignitable. It can be a video, it can be a slideshow, it can be a quiz, it can be a survey, it can be whatever. And we built a piece of technology around 2003, 2004 called Ignite, which we have the registered trademark on. And we sold thousands of licenses worldwide. Originally it was sold in stores, but then computer stores went away, and then we went to the web and we're selling it through the web. But in essence, really, we call it kind of a media stitcher, where it takes the similar pieces of media, stitches them together, and creates these ignitables that you can use for promotion or showcasing, or just like we're doing right now, podcasting, which and also podcasting wasn't available then. Ignitecast is the extension of what that desktop software does. So it was the ignitables, Ignitecasting was casting out those ignitables, and that's what Ignitecast is today. So.
Okay, so you could create things off it. I know mostly tutorials. A lot of people use it.
Yeah, it's like SlideShare on steroids. That's probably the easiest way to explain it. So you can put up a PowerPoint, you can put up videos, you can put your voiceover on a slideshow or on a PowerPoint or a Keynote or whatever mechanism you want to use to create it, and then be able to share it out. So if you wanted to say it was a sales presentation or it was just a gallery of images of your kids, I mean, it's basically media, social media. So.
Okay. Now, you do a lot of different things with social media. Let's talk about some of these other projects you've worked on. We've talked about some automation. We've talked about,
started around 2010. I was playing a lot with Twitter. We built a system called Buzz Tweet originally, which it's kind of like a pre-Hootsuite thing where you can schedule messages to go out, at certain time intervals. And during that period, I met Ahmet Zappa, which is Frank Zappa's son, in Los Angeles. And he took us into Relativity Media, and we did the Limitless movie for Relativity. The one where you take a pill and you get your 100% of your brain.
Okay.
So we helped market that movie using this technology, and it went very well. And based on that, Ahmet walked us into Disney, and we ended up using the technology to market over 60 movies for Disney. And then we did some for DreamWorks. So we've done 6 movies for Awesomeness TV. We just finished one just recently for them. So it's and it's expanded now. Now the system's called Buzzcast, and we're actually going to combine that with some analytical tools for big data, and we're gonna rebrand it under the name GoFreak, and that's what we've been working in the process of doing today.
Wow. So all this is advertising movies. It's advertising. How is it doing that? How is it promoting them?
So basically, every piece of video, like the video that you're going to put up on YouTube today, it has a dimension. And when I mean a dimension, meaning if I take the video and I put it onto YouTube and I just place it there, that's the only place I put it. Well, for the lack of a better term, we'll say it's the size of an inch. Okay. Now I send it to you. I send it over to Twitter. Now it's a little bit bigger. Maybe it's 1.5 inches. Okay. Now people start to share that and it starts to grow. And what it does is it increases the digital footprint of that piece of content. And that's how the web works. And it constantly builds and builds and builds until things start to go viral. So that's the goal, is to slowly watch and monitor how things are moving and be able to, especially if you're a podcast or whatever, find out, what's going to resonate, what's the proper keywords to wrap around the video that you're putting up. And then once it gets going, it starts to affect rank, and not just rank on search engines such as like YouTube and Google, but it'll start to affect rank on iTunes and Amazon and other places as well, because everything, as well as I do, if it's a rank, there's a weighting factor built into these. And so your goal is to make sure that you maximize the amount of digital footprint of the content that you're putting out there, so you will definitely maximize the views that you get.
So when you say sharing, are we talking about a particular link, or are we just talking about the content, such as uploading a video to Twitter and LinkedIn and all these places, versus sharing a link to LinkedIn and Facebook and all them places?
You share links, but you can obviously put different, information. So say it's a movie, for example, right? Well, that trailer contains many different stars, right? So, and you can't tag them all in 140 characters, especially if it's a link, it's 120 characters plus whatever the shortened link is. But so what you do is you make sure that, you send messages out, strategically over a period of time that actually has, at actor name inside there, to be able to, generate more views that all drive back to where that traffic is. Because it's all about trying to get people, to see that. But you can't put all of the keywords into one tweet. It's impossible to do that. So you strategically, plan it. And what we also do, we'll use like behind the scene videos that help drive that. All of that creates that digital footprint for a movie or a piece of content. So it's not just about having one video, just like you do. You make many videos because you want to create that digital footprint, for your show.
Yeah. So. I mean, if I could hire people to work for me, I always say, and I'm still going to say this again, when the first people I'd hire would be a social media manager, even if they're inexperienced, someone that could be like, here, put this out. These are tags. Learn how to do tags.
Yeah.
Learn how to do this, and that would be hours off my plate.
No, it's critical. I mean, and those fields are there for a reason. When you put up the videos. And even when you send out messages to LinkedIn and that, if you don't put the proper keywords in there, no one's going to find it. And if no one finds it, no one sees it. That's that. We live in a keyword-based world, and everyone's searching for stuff online. And it's not just that, but it's a very fractionalized world, because you've got certain people that are on Instagram, certain people on Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. So if you're not everywhere, then you're nowhere. So, and that's what it's really about, being ever present instead of never present.
Right. Now, the keywords now, is that something people are physically putting in, or are you somehow automating that as well?
No, I don't automate stuff like that. Though
Okay.
you have to, with all marketing, you still have to put thought into the content
Right.
that you're creating. And if you're marketing a movie, obviously there's tons of keywords there. There's the plot of the movie. There's certain things that might be going on with the certain actors and things like that. So you weave it all together, and it takes. I can't say it's
Right.
easy. It takes some thought to do that, but
I only ask because I see that there's software and there's sites that sort of do that. They kind of pick up on,
Yeah.
this is about this. Here's a bunch of suggestions,
Suggestions are fine, but I mean, article spinners are bad, and Google and search engines are not stupid, and they can figure out, like, if you wrote like a blog or whatever, and you spin it off into other articles, and you link back to videos. These search algorithms are not stupid, so it's better to write the content right from scratch. But there's nothing to say that if you're sending things to Twitter that you can't reuse messages over and over again in certain areas, especially if they're working and people want to find it. Because when you're dealing with a social media search engine, it's a chronological search engine, which means whoever said it last is the expert. It's not like Google, where whoever's the best at search engine optimization is going to rank first. On Twitter, it's like, once it's said, it's gone. So if you don't say it again, and you basically, that whole audience that logs on during that period, they're not going to see it. So, and I'm not saying that you should send the same thing out over and over again either. There's a strategy to it. There's a cadence, which we call a frequency, that you have to try and hit for all different types of pieces of content. And when you get it, things start to work real well.
Yeah, now Twitter's changing up a lot now too. I mean, I go on Twitter and it used to all be chronological, but now the first 5 things it shows me is what it thinks I want to see.
Yeah, they're modifying. They're also getting a lot more video centric than what they used to be. And I predicted that years ago, because I spoke at a lot of different social media events, and I said, look, social media are channels. And I've had social media people say, no, they're not channels. Well, they are channels. And now that Twitter is becoming more and more video centric, they're becoming people's channels. I mean, literally.
Right.
And they're also allowing you to make money off of those channels too by pre-rolling stuff. So it's you're going to see some dynamics really change over the next 5 years, and we're trying to be ahead of that curve and try to build a bunch of applications that will work to really help people like yourself or anyone that really wants to become a media company and take it to the next level, but can't figure it out, because as you know, it ain't easy, and it's a lot of work.
Right.
So,
and I assume there's licensing fees, which how you get paid off of the creators.
yeah, I mean, for movies and that, they pay us to do a movie. It's usually a 3-month a gig to do one movie. But what I want to do, and what we are going to do, is build it as a software, as a SaaS, as software as a service. So anyone that's a podcaster or whatever can actually, create their own account, find out who they're competing against, and it would provide those results of, well, hey, what's that person doing? Well, they're doing this, and this is their frequency, and then blah, 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 blah. And it's okay. So now I need to do that. Yes. So you would need to do the same thing if you want to compete with them. So.
Or slightly change it so you go
Correct.
after a different demographic.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is really just changing up the keywords and the categories and where you want to place things. So
Right. And there are now, would your software allow me to see what their keywords are?
in certain instances, because I mean that's what we're doing. We're searching, looking inside of websites, search engines, social, that type of thing, to pull analytics and find out, what, how are they controlling it, which a lot of the SEO tools do, and even Google does it, pay-per-click. They all do it, right?
Right. That's why I asked, because I keep a plugin on my Google Chrome. That way when I'm looking through YouTube videos, like, oh, that's their keywords.
Yes, exactly. Yep. But it's more about, it's one thing knowing them, it's another thing knowing what to do with them. You know what I mean? And then how to position the proper frequency and how to write the right content that's going to give you whatever response that you need. That's the key to that's the sweet spot in marketing. So,
And you don't consider yourself a marketer at all.
No, I'm an engineer.
Oh, man, how these worlds combine. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I read an article yesterday that said that a lot of CMOs now are becoming CTOs because
What are those?
well, CMO is a chief marketing officer,
Okay.
and a CTO is a chief technical officer. So normally the techie guys are the ones that are the CTOs, but now the CMOs that the companies are hiring, they're the ones that need to have engineering degrees now because if you don't understand digital and the way that things work, the way that robots parse content, you just don't get it. If you don't understand RSS, I mean, that's the key to all of social media, Twitter, Facebook, they're all RSS
Those that don't know
feeds.
RSS, it's like a feed that goes into one to the other to the other. People are most know the podcast RSS feeds. Okay, they're I don't expect everyone to know this.
No, it stands for
SEO stands for search engine optimization, which I'm pretty sure you've been saying that versus SEO.
yeah,
But
right.
a lot of people only know it as SEO for some reason. They don't know what it stands for.
Yeah, RSS was actually, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe it was invented by Netscape many years ago.
Huh.
And it was for obviously newsfeed. And it stands for Real Simple Syndication. That's what the acronym is.
That's cool.
Yeah, but basically what it is, it's just it's an XML feed. I might have to describe what XML means, but extended markup language. Okay, but what it does, it's really just a bunch of text that has links that go back to an article that's on a web page somewhere. And so if you go to the RSS feed for like Fox News, all their articles are in contextual format that you can pull, and any type of robot or whatever can parse that and display it. And that's how the internet works.
Right.
Very, very powerful technology. But if you're a CMO or CTO and you want to move content, you better understand RSS feeds because that's critical to how digital marketing works in today's world.
So how does SEO, search engine optimization, work? How do I become top on Google besides sharing it everywhere?
That's simple. Pay them lots of money.
Now, you're not joking.
I'm not joking. If you want to be top of Google, you pour lots of money into pay-per-click. Matter of fact, one of the reasons that I got into the whole digital marketing world is when we had the Ignite software, I was dumping $10,000 to $15,000 a month into pay-per-click. And I ended up taking a course from a guy in Chicago, Perry Marshall, brilliant. He's a brilliant guy in that pay-per-click field, and they guided us to the proper way of being able to do pay-per-click. So you paid the least amount per click, because if you do it wrong, which most people do, they pay the max. So for example, you're trying to market against a competitor, and you start to use the competitor's name in your keywords, you'll pay the max pay-per-click because that keyword for your competitor is probably not on your landing page and not in your ads. And that's like 101 when it comes to pay-per-click. But a lot of people get screwed by that. So they'll put tons of money into it, and all of a sudden Google takes it. $10 a click, $25 a click. I mean, and it's crazy. So there's smart ways to do pay-per-click, and there's bad ways to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's different for different companies, different for Google and different for Facebook, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and also when you're dealing with Facebook, I mean, in many cases, it's not just about clicks, it's impression based. So, you want to get, if you want to do branding, obviously you want to get impressions. You want the most people to see your brand. If you want to get it to be transactional, where you want someone to close, and obviously you want to click. And the thing that people don't understand about marketing is that effective frequency is the impression portion, meaning where, and you can Wikipedia this if you see it. Effective frequency is where someone has to see something 20 times before they take action. And I think in the ADD world that we live in today, it's probably even worse than that, right? So,
right. I've also been seeing and reading how most of the things we conceive as being good, it's just stuff that we're accustomed to.
Right.
Like some horrible movies out there. I'm not even going to name names, but horrible movies, but we've seen so often. Somehow we think that they're good. Christmas Story. Sorry. Someone stuck in my throat. Hi, Ralphie. Oh, what a horrible movie that is. I I had another point. What was it? So you're you're also an author.
Yeah, I do some of that as well. This book here, actually going back to the effective frequency thing,
Exposure to Closure.
This was all about frequency marketing. So that ability to create effective frequency where people are actually seeing your brand 20 times, and then the final step, which is normally the pay-per-click thing, where people click on your ad and they buy. That's the very last step in marketing, right? That's the ad side, that's the buying. But people like to jump right to the very end, and you can't do that. You have to do all the stuff to be able to brand out what you're doing. And so people, they feel comfortable with your brand, they know that it's good content, and they, and it takes work to do that. And that's why I wrote this book back in 2010. This book actually got me into Hollywood. It sits on some of the CMO's desks right at Disney. Matter of fact, though, the one guy that was in charge of marketing, he just retired, unfortunately, George Sebastian, great guy. I'm actually going to send him a link to this video as a shout out. So, but yeah, and it's got some very, very interesting information. It's more written like as a story of how I got into this as an engineer, not as a marketer. So, which is kind of interesting. So,
but it's filled with like theories behind things. As
correct.
Well.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the releasing of content and the thing I just mentioned about pay-per-click, all of that type of thing. So.
Would you call it evergreen? Meaning in 5, since it's 2000, it's still relevant today as it was, and it'll probably still be relevant in like 3 or 4 years.
I think so, yeah, because I've been involved in the internet since the very inception back in '95 when I first started building websites for the company that I was working for in engineering for doing just file transfer and data stuff. It's built with that core in mind, so it's everything that I've kind of learned on top of. HTML1 all the way to where it is now. It's still, as I said, Netscape invented the RSS technology back then. It still runs the web today. And if you understand that, you can be very more effective at digital marketing than what you probably are already being in many cases for most people.
Okay. And once again, that book is called Exposure to Closure by Stephen Sadler.
Yeah. And it's on Kindle. So I don't do any printed versions So it's going to be a green book, so it's only digital.
Okay. And a little bit taken away from that, you have Mindset here, which is more of a novel.
It's a sci-fi novel, yeah, or an adventure novel. It's the start of a series. I went through some health issues in 2016 and got diagnosed with Addison's disease. And during the year before that, in 2015, when I was writing this whole book, I didn't know that I had that disease. And so I was kind of my brain was like going in and out of like spatial type hallucinations, basically. My body was producing no cortisol and, I was basically dying. And so now that I go back and I read the book and I can understand why it's so wild of a ride, what the book is. And it was basically some of the experiences that I was feeling myself, but it was also written about a piece of technology that I really wanted to make, but I just didn't have enough money to be able to go out and make it, or we'd probably end up with another company called Mindset. So, but yeah, the Mindset actually, it's not just the name of the book. It's actually, it's a headset. So if you look at it on the book here, you see how it's got an M built into it. That is the Mindset. So basically, it's a Bluetooth device that you would buy from the Apple Store, and you would actually be given a script. You type in a bunch of keywords, and it would be looking at your thoughts, and it would be basically learning from your thoughts what you're typing. So the next time that you think those thoughts, the fields on your phone would fill in. So it's thought to text. Basically,
I'm sure Facebook is working on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are working on it. And obviously the crazy thing that happens is it gets picked up by these VC guys out in California, and they try to figure out how to put thoughts into your head using the devices because they want to run for political office, and it just takes off from there. So
now I noticed that it's based in Los Angeles, and you have some companies there, both
Yeah.
So Los Angeles and Detroit, those are very different cities.
Yeah, they are. Eddie Murphy liked both of them. No, I love Detroit and I love Los Angeles. I mean, I like going out to I like going out there. I mean, got some great people that I work with. We do like doing the movies. People are very more open to types of technical ideas relative to the web on the West Coast. Here, it's always been very difficult to try and even get investment money to do certain things unless it was automotive related. And I actually came out of the automotive industry as a robotics CAD engineer. And so to me, I thought, we're in a technical area. I should be able to grow my internet-based businesses here. No, it was really difficult to do that. Matter of fact, it was years of pounding the pavement and people going, I don't get what you're saying. But it's funny, lately, people here seem to get what we're saying. So it's just a time thing, right? So
yeah, you're a little bit ahead of the time. And wow, that's just crazy. To get into this in, you said 2003, 2004?
I quit my job in 2001 as director of engineering for a company called Veltri Metal Products. So I, grew up in Canada, moved over with that company over to the States. And in 2001, I was just really tired of working in the automotive industry. And so I left a very well-paying job.
At a very good time because...
Yes. That company's now Flexingate. And some of those people that I actually hired, they still even work at Flexingate. And the original company I started was just doing training. And the way that I got into doing the whole digital thing is that I had all this content for teaching CAD or CATIA to design cars. And Chrysler is one of our customers and that. And I happened to be over one of the suppliers one day and they said, how are you making these courses? And I had been learning by myself how to program in Flash and Perl at the time. And I was putting these courses online. And I said, well, I built a little application that's on my laptop. And I said, and I can easily capture the screen and put an arrow on it. And I go, here it is. And they said, well, can we buy that? And I said, I don't sell that. He goes, what do you mean you don't sell it? He goes, you should sell that. So we basically turned into a software development company by the beginning of 2003. And it wasn't by, that I planned it. It was more that we had created a bunch of courses and we just needed a quicker way of being able to make those courses, which end up becoming, as I said, ignitables. So it was just wild how things happen. And the thing about entrepreneurship, as any entrepreneur will tell you, once you've been bitten as an entrepreneur, you're never going to go work for someone else. I tried to work for someone else just recently, just doing a small little stint. No, it's just not going to happen.
You may have to be out of my own bed and into an office to sit behind a computer by 8 o'clock.
Right.
But we don't have customers coming in. So why do I need to be behind that computer by 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because you're told to. And they pay you to. So.
You can't just work from home? I feel like we could talk about so much stuff. I was just looking through some of your some things through your websites. I'm seeing stuff as kind of curation sites. Seen one for movies. I seen one for coupons.
Right.
Tell me about these curation sites.
You talking about the Buzzcast site?
Yeah, Buzzcast was one of them, and there was another one as well.
The two curation sites is Buzzcast it ties into RSS feeds, and then it allows you to create other types of feeds of curated content, and so you can make your own channels basically of other people's contents, and they get the views and credit for it, and all the ad money for it, but you can actually build your own channels. So that's what Buzzcast does. Poala is another application that we built more for digital signage. So from an app, you could actually say, for example, you're at Great Lakes Crossing at the mall. And you could put these touch screens around the mall, but a store could say, I want to put these deals up, and I only want it on these two screens. And you put it in, and it appears on those two screens. And what happens is those screens actually have their own URL. So if I have my phone and I'm by that, I can actually take that screen, put it on my phone, and now I have that screen on my phone with all the deals and coupons. So that's the other thing that we were building.
Just for a moment, can you describe what digital signage is? Because a lot of people get this wrong when I.
Yeah. Well, there's two types of digital signs. There's static and dynamic, right? So static is when you look at an LCD LED screen or whatever, and you're just looking at an ad. A dynamic screen is a touch screen that you can touch and you can move, and that's what these are. So these digital signs that you, like a kiosk, for example, smaller. Right. These look a lot larger. They look more like a big iPad, and so you could walk directly up to it and you could scroll over coupons, click on it, and he basically would send that coupon directly to your phone.
Right, and digital signage also includes like TVs inside of a company that's all internal.
Sure.
So I'm the company I'm involved with is constantly looking at different digital signage.
Yeah, yeah. And we're working with GP Johnson right now, and we're trying to do stuff for auto shows and stuff like that with digital signs, because that's big in auto shows as well. For information, and they're great people over there. Give them a shout out as well.
Oh yeah, it's hard to, and we've talked about this show. It's hard to be in the Detroit area without ever even touching the auto industry. Even if you're not into cars, you're going to do something that touches it.
Yeah, and I love cars. I mean, I'm probably more into motorcycles. I've had many motorcycles over the years, and I love riding bikes. But yeah, if you're in Detroit, I mean, you got to love cars. And with me working in tool and die and then getting into engineering, working in the auto industry for so long, you know, I still have some small passion towards vehicles. So, yeah.
Okay. So I know you have some relationship with creators, maybe even some Instagram creators that have fun with their photos. Yeah. When they're sharing when they're trying to get the word out, when they're trying to become large as creators, what advice do you give them?
Well, I'll use an example. My daughter, she's a creator. I think I don't know if I showed you her Instagram. It's Alice Sadler, and
I was kind of leaning towards that.
Yeah, she.
See, this is how I know he's an engineer.
Yeah, I'm very linear the way that I think. Yeah, but no, she produces some amazing content and costumes. So she just recently got married. Her and her husband Ollie do these cosplay things, and so Instagram is all about making great content. If you don't have great content, forget it. It ain't going to go anywhere. That really kind of applies to anything, really. You know. So and that's the goal.
Or at least eye-catching content.
Well, yeah, eye-catching, but I mean that's still good content, right? Something that catches someone's attention. So they've done Comic-Con a few times. They won Comic-Con locally in Detroit. They want to go down San Diego and see how well they do with in the big leagues. I think they'll do okay. She dressed up as Wonder Woman the last time, and the pictures were phenomenal. But she creates a lot of her other costumes as well. But just the quality of the images and the quality of that makes a big difference to how many views you actually get. You think, just the crappy images. No. If you spend the time, you lay it out right, and as you say, it catches someone's eye, even if it's a video. I mean, it can go viral. Oh yeah. So it's not just about followers. So.
Oh yeah, because on this show we know nothing of cosplay. Mark, Mark been hosting cosplay contests and conventions for years. William is a cosplay photographer, goes to many cosplay events as well as other events for his photography. Yeah. And if you look at my channel, you see all sorts of cosplay, events. I was just at a HorrorCon last weekend, and I was at Astronomicon by Twisted the weekend before. There's one coming up this weekend, which I might skip, so I'm not going to name drop them just in case I don't go. But they're awesome.
No, you got to meet Alice and Oliver. They're great people. They just love having fun. I mean, I actually at the Renaissance Festival. I mean, we do it like every single weekend. And at first, I'm like, I was opposed to it. Obviously, I'm an engineer. I'm not like that, right? But it's like they pulled me into it. So now I'm dressing up all the time. And I was born in Nottingham, England, which I don't know if you know that. So they've got me dressing up as a sheriff of Nottingham. And I'm like, well, no one likes the sheriff of Nottingham. And they go, it doesn't matter. I say, well, then pay me your taxes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to part on us, whether it be SEO or maybe words to engineers that are looking to incorporate what's going on into what they're doing?
Well, as I said, I mean, I just recently went back in the automotive industry for about 10 months, just doing kind of a short stint. And there was a lot of young people that were working for me at the time. Mm-hmm. And they seemed to be lost in what they wanted to do. And I would just say to a lot of the millennials that are out there, it's like, just go out there and do it. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't get stuck in a job that you hate, that's controlled by, you know, someone that's just, you know, hitting hard on you every single day. Life is a lot bigger than that. If you're entrepreneurial, go out and do it. If you're not happy with your job, go get another job, and you'll find more joy in that. Don't stay and waste time. Time is too valuable in life to waste. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would leave it on.
Okay. I do want to point out that, you know, something you touch on was titles. Titles are, everyone's wearing multiple hats.
Absolutely.
You know, you mentioned marketing officers and tech officers are merging.
Yep.
And engineers doing social media marketing.
Yep.
I mean, someone's got to orchestrate it. Automation is the key word.
Automation is the key word, and teamwork is the key word. And mm-hmm. And I think if you can combine the two, and it ends up, you know, really making things efficient and optimized, you can be very successful. And that's the whole premise behind technology anyways, is the automation mm-hmm. That makes our life easier, not harder. And in some cases, I think, I don't want to pick on my wife or anything because she's brilliant, but she struggles in some forms of technology, which, you know, a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. And because it can be overwhelming if you're not in it all the time, right? So yeah, I mean, whatever tools that we can design to make things easier, I think is a good thing in this crazy world that we live in.
All right. Once again, go ahead and promote whatever it is you want to promote, whether it be Twitters or websites.
My Twitter is Steve Sadler, which is just at Steve Sadler, and Sadler is Sadler, just one D. I'm on Instagram as Steven Sadler, Stephen Sadler. Facebook, I do believe the same. Mindset is going to be a series of books. I just got back from San Diego last week, so I wrote another 5,000 words on the second book, and it's going to end up being a series. So, and it's funny. I was just telling Dave as we drove up here today that you always want to keep a series going, because when you start to become a writer, you don't want to be away from the characters that you created. It's like you get this attachment to them, which is kind of interesting. It's like you don't want them to die, so you just keep writing, right? So, but yeah, it's interesting, and I really am starting to like writing as much as I like, or even more than than building technology, because when technology, you've got to make sure that it works. If it doesn't work, you know, you've already failed. When you're writing a book, you can just say it works. It's like, yep, that technology works, boom, and you're done, right? So you still get the same creative feeling, but you don't have to make it and spend the money on it. So.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm Toden from Toden.com, and you can find Media Liter Sandwich at MediaLiterSandwich.com. Join the conversation. Leave a comment on YouTube. Of course, YouTube.com/TodenK, or you could go to the Facebook, over to the Media Liter Sandwich group. That's probably the best way to talk to us. And, you know, though you can find us other places, I do want to give a shout out to Awaken Haunted Attraction. There's a podcast with them, Awaken After Hours. I was on their podcast the other day. It was awesome. We are also joined by my roommate Svetlana, that's just been kind of hanging out. She's wearing the Awaken hat as a shout out. She doesn't talk much. She's kind of shy.
She's quiet.
But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed our discussion, and may the algorithms be in your favor.
Cheers.